So imagine this. You've got a cyclone brewing off the coast. There's 130, 140 kilometre-hour winds that are going to be lashing the coast. How do you prep your motorhome for such an event, especially when you might have a motorhome or a caravan that just sits on the driveway and is exposed to weather? We don't have to imagine, do we?
No, just welcome to our house where our van lives.
Yes,
and
so
we are in the target area.
Yeah, so we've got a cyclone brewing off the coast, and I've got to think, what can I do to keep my motorhome safe?
Yeah,
So
what are we going to do, Mucky?
What do we exactly? How do you prep for like 140 kilometre-hour winds? Well, you can do the best you can.
We've got a few ideas.
We've got a few ideas that we're going to share with you this morning. So let's go and have a look.
Yeah. So it's already starting to spit here, but Mark and I were thinking about where water could get into the motorhome and what we could do to prevent that. So we looked at all the vents or entry points to the motorhome that maybe we could cover up. So we're fairly sheltered here, but if you've got 100, it could be up to 150 kilometre winds whooshing around, then rain could be forced into the van. So these are some vents here that we've just used some gaff tape that we got from Big W to just cover up these entry points. And so these are vents that enter into the van at the
Fridge,
so that there's no entry point there. And we go around the other side, there's a few other places that we've also covered up.
Another point of entry for water to get in. This is the exhaust for our hot water system. So yeah, I think if the rain was coming from this way, which I think it will, that could easily get water in. I don't want to go and put masking tape or gaff tape over the paintwork. I don't know if it'll do any damage. And so I do have a couple of magnetic signs that we have.
From a great YouTube channel, yeah?
From our YouTube channel, Van Tribune Oz.
Like and subscribe.
And yes, maybe they will blow off, but they're there for now in case there's wet weather, trying to stop any rain getting in.
So, take two. We filmed before and it was so windy you couldn't hear me. So, just some common sense things. Go around the outside of your van and just check these flaps. This is the power inlet, which has flaps on it. So just make sure that they're all fastened down so they're not flapping around in crazy weather. And on the other side, there's also the inlet for our electricity for the frying pan and other places like that. So just be checking all those flaps around your outside of your van so they're not flapping around in crazy winds.
So this is another entry point here. We did have these get a couple of breaks in them, in those fins during a storm.
Yep.
And we found some water did get into the camper. So I'm just taping this up just to make sure.
As I'm filming here on your phone has come up tropical cyclone warning again.
Already getting the wind.
And it's still tomorrow, isn't it? It's not due till tomorrow or tonight, is it?
And it may not be foolproof, but we've still got to try and do the best that we can. So this is another entry point here, just down at the bottom of the door. Pretty unlikely that any rain will get in there, but again, because the winds are cyclonic and they'll swirl around and there'll be heavy rain, we're just trying to do the very best that we can to keep the moisture out. So it's starting to get a little bit windier here. We've had a little bit of showers starting to fall, but not only have you got to go and look at points where the water can get in around the side of the vehicle, I've also gone, and you might be able to see just in the background there, the hatch that goes into the ensuite. I've gone and taped it down. Now, whilst we've got it tightened down the hatch, we did have one storm come through and it lifted the hatch up maybe a couple of centimetres. So rather than running the risk of that happening with a cyclone coming, I've gone and taped that down just to give a bit of extra security. Again, it's about doing all that we can to make sure that our vehicles are going to be safe. And also things like the TV antenna. Making sure that the TV antenna is properly secured down. As we have the awnings on the other side of the van, and so I've actually gone and made sure that it's been tightened up so that it doesn't decide that it's going to start pulling out on us as well in the strong winds.
So what can we do inside our motorhome, Mark and Linda, to make it more secure? So glad you asked. Here are just a few thoughts from us. One is to make sure that everything is secure in your van, so that potentially the van could be rocking around a bit with wind buffering it. So make sure that things are secure. Nothing's going to fall over. Everything's locked away. Yeah, all of your buttons are done up on your cupboards. Your bathroom is locked up. Your fridge is closed properly. Just because it could be a lot of movement happening in your van, you don't want to have things bumping around inside. I would also suggest that you put all of your screens up just to add a little bit of extra protection to your windows with the wind coming in. It's just another idea. And in your bathroom, I know Mark has taken you up and shown you that we have secured the hatch, but I wouldn't leave anything in the bathroom that you don't want to get wet. Should the hatch come off or be smashed, I would remove anything from your bathroom that you don't want to get wet should, unfortunately, you lose your hatch in a cyclone.
Yeah, like Linda said, don't have anything in the ensuite that you don't want to have get wet. Because on our last trip, when we went down to Sydney, we were driving ahead of a very severe storm around Coffs Harbour. And sadly, a couple of hours after we reached our next destination and was set up, a caravan came through that had been through the same storm, but when they went through it, they had cricket ball size hail. So their caravan was written off, but also the hatch for their ensuite was smashed, and so that allowed water to come in. So yeah, if you don't want things to get wet in the ensuite during a storm, then maybe look for some other place where you could store it. So something else to consider is also making sure that might be a good idea to have some extra water in your tank. We've been told in our region that we may need to be storing some water, so it's a good idea to have the water tank filled up. Make sure the gas bottle is filled, because I know when we've had floods in our area before and we haven't been able to get out, at least we've had our gas bottle filled. We've been able to go and have showers, do cooking in the van, so that's been really helpful. And of course, something we don't like to think about is insurance claims. So make sure that you have your insurance policy up to date. So these are just some of the things that we're doing as we prepare for Tropical Cyclone Alfred, and it's probably a good idea just to keep these things in mind when we have other storms in our area. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and share it as well.